Brauchst du? Indem ich dir was? Bitte?
Number 9, 6. Number 9, oder?
Das sind 3-3. Das war keine Nummer.
Welcome to the final day of action in Ruhpolding and the breathtaking Bavarian Alps. A bumper day to conclude the action in the penultimate stop before the Olympic Games. 5 laps, 2-kilometre loops, 4 shooting stages today in our pursuit for the women, which kicks things off. Here's a look at the course, a challenging course in places, plenty of climbing, and we do have an absolute thriller on the cards today. Hannah Urberg secured her first win in Ruhpolding in the sprint on Friday, and well, alongside myself, Ellard, today is Chad Salmela. Here's a look at the weather, back over freezing after dropping into the minus conditions yesterday. And Chad, of course, one last pursuit before the Olympic Games. We have 17 women starting within a minute of each other today. It doesn't get much better than this.
No, it's very tight between the women's team. Well, this venue tends to deliver tight performances in the sprint competition because, as we said all week, there's not a lot of place to make time out there, and it just compresses, and we're going to see that compression in this pursuit start.
Well, here's a look at our top 3. Starting 12 seconds back is Lisa Vitozzi, of course, making very good progress as she heads towards a home Olympic Games. Lou Jean-Minot, she said this week that the yellow bib sort of fades into the background once you're on the range, but she has extended her lead at the top of the total score table and will look to do so once again today. But Hannah Urberg, Chad, we mentioned already she secured her first ever win here in Ruhpolding in the sprint. What was key to that victory on Friday?
Well, you know, I saw that the sort of unidentifiable, but there was a certain quality to her performance in that sprint, and she called it relaxed, and I think that nailed it. When she said that in her interview, I was like, okay, that makes the difference, because when she's relaxed, she's the best she's ever been, and that's the quality she has when she emerged at the Olympic Games 8 years ago and won her first Olympic medal, kind of as an unknown, and it was a relaxed performance that did that, and that identified that from watching her long career, and I think if she can stay relaxed, it could be a great performance for her again today.
Well, here is the start list, just to point out before we get into it in detail. A couple of DNSs. Julia Simoni finished 3rd in Annecy Le Grand Bonnard, won't start today. Neither will Olympic-bound Carolina Knotten, Regina Ermitz or Lotte Lee, as you can see there on the start list. But let's talk about it in detail. Chad, we have front-loaded our pursuit specialists today. Hannah Urberg has no wins in this discipline, but behind her, Lou Jean-Minot has 7 pursuit wins, and one of those this season. Vitozzi won her 4th career pursuit in Hopfilzen at the end of last year. Elvira Urberg, the Olympic silver medalist, has 5 pursuit wins, and we know she's a record-breaking climber in this event. Franziska Preuss is the reigning world champion, and Suvi Minkkinen has 3 silver medals, wears the red bib, thanks to her excellent results so far this season. You mentioned relaxed. Can you be relaxed when those are the women who are lining up behind you?
Well, it's hard, especially when you know there's a goose egg next to your record in wins in this competition. But Hannah Urberg has been on the podium 11 times in pursuit competition in her career. She just hasn't taken the win. And she's also had 13 victories. And there's 5 women in the top, in the first 17 women who have double-digit wins in their careers in general. So a lot of winners up at the front of the field. These people are all comfortable with being on the podium, and they're comfortable losing the podium. That's what makes them so good, is they can kind of go out there and relax, like Hannah Oberg's doing right now, and just do what they do best.
Plenty of love for the Italians. It's exactly what you'd expect going into those home Olympic Games in Antholz in just a few weeks' time. The anticipation is building, and will it be Lou Jean-Monod's year? We will have to wait and see on that front, but she is leading the way in the total score competition. And there, well, Chad, is a very happy and what looks to be a very relaxed Hannah Oberg.
Yeah, and let's see if that trick keeps working today. I think that this would be a good day for her to get her first win in a pursuit, but their margin for error in Ruhpolding is so small. You have to be so perfect in these head-to-head competitions because the real-time mistakes show.
So Hannah Oberg goes bib number 1, and then we have 18 bibs between her and Leah Meyer, who starts a minute back after an excellent day for the Swiss woman, wearing bib number 1 in the sprint on Friday, and a new personal best in the sprint to start today in bib 18. Well, we are underway in the women's pursuit, the final pursuit before the Olympic Games in Antholz, and the final day of action here in Ruhpolding. It's Hannah Oberg who gets us underway, and then starting 8 seconds behind owing to their time difference in the sprint is Lou Jean-Monod, Lisa Vitozzi, and now Elvira Oberg, the Olympic silver medalist. Franziska Preuss, the reigning world champion, gets her race underway. And Chad, there is so little to separate these front 5 women.
And everybody's so decorated. Even Sue Minkinen, who's one of the least decorated athletes in this first 10, she's wearing the red bib of the leader of this discipline. So everybody's got a claim to fame here.
There is Justine Brassard-Boucher, who wears bib number 8 today. Malin Chirkaida, the blue bib, leading the way in the under-23 globe. You can see Dorothea Vera emerge to the fore there, wearing bib 17, and the Italian starts her race. You can see the DNS there for Julia Simon, Hanheimer and Selina Grossian going together, bib 15 and 16. And the Germans will certainly hope that they can end the weekend here in Ruhpolding after the double header of Oberhof last weekend on the podium.
Top 6 competitors from the sprint, separated by just 2 minutes and 15 seconds. That's about as tight as it gets in the women's pursuit start.
And it all makes great, very exciting race today. Mr. Schwartz, bib 44, rolling forward into the start gates. Vanessa Voigt there as well, just behind her, bib 45. Ella Halvorsen returning to the World Cup this weekend after missing out in Oberhof through illness. He's down the order and we're looking to climb. And keep your eyes on Venla Lehtinen, who wears bib number 52 today. Last week in Oberhof, she started bib 53, but climbed all the way to 18th, Chad. And, well, we've seen plenty of brilliant battles at the front of the field. And actually, when you look further back, there's always stories to be told.
Yeah, I think 2 of the ones that are down by Lehtinen got 3 bibs ahead in Ella Halvorsen, bib 150 back in bib 49. And Lisa Teresa Hauser, we didn't really call attention to her, but she won the first pursuit of the year up in Östersund, so she is back in 46th. 1 win in the pursuit, but she could be a big climber as well today. You got Lehtinen and Halvorsen with her back there. They may just team up and work their way through the field.
Teaming up at the head of the field. And you can see Lou Jean-Monod comes through 12.7 seconds behind the time of Hannah Oberg. Just 8 seconds separated them at the start. Lisa Vitozzi hot on her heels, and Elvira Oberg there as well. Franziska Preuss in 5th, wearing bib number 5. No change to the early order through the first kilometre.
I was very interested to see how Hannah Oberg started this race. If she's going to just keep going on the mode that she was in the sprint competition, and the answer is yes. She's already taken 4 seconds out of the field, and she doesn't look like she's going to slow down. And I should say 4 seconds and 9/10 of a kilometer is a pretty big margin if you're considering you're competing against the best in the world.
Well, Chad, back above freezing today after yesterday down into the minus numbers. What do you make of the conditions of the tracks underfoot?
I think actually the course is probably in the best shape we've seen all week. It's gotten to refreeze, and that's what we've needed to see. So, you know, it's only a degree above freezing right now, so it's nice to be above. There's usually a gap, especially in Ruhpolding, with the shade that the valley keeps on the course. The course could stay cold and under freezing, and the actual air temp right under freezing a lot longer than it would in the sun or out in an open field. So this is great conditions for Ruhpolding.
And here is Franziska Preuss, the reigning total score champion, 5th. She starts today. That was her 3rd consecutive 5th place finish, her best result of the season so far, edging ever closer to finishing on the podium as we see Justine Bressard-Boucher and Suvi Minkkinen. 3 silver medals for Suvi Minkkinen this season in this discipline, and she really emerges as someone who could be a pursuit specialist in the future.
Well, between 0.9 kilometers and 1.4, Hannah Öberg backed it off a second. She gives a second back to everybody that's in that chase group, but still gaining time on the rest of the field further back. And it just tells you, I think that she has to go out there and probably get a little bit of information. She runs through the first split, tries to see how she feels, gets the news that she's put 4 seconds on everybody and backs it off a little bit. Probably smart decision.
She boasts excellent statistics on the skis this season and has improved her overall shooting accuracy.
And we have been at capacity in the stadium, but look at the course tickets. There's a gaggle of people out there on course, and this is a true Ruhpolding Sunday.
Well, there is slightly more movement you can see in the range, Chad, than we've noticed over the course of the last couple of days. The breeze just rippling through the wind flags, as it is Hannah Öberg who will drop down first. Yeah. Will join up with the best prone shooting hit rates so far this season.
That breeze tends to just kind of bounce off the back of this range. There's a big granite wall back there, and the wind is almost like a ricochet. It's coming straight at them. It shouldn't affect the shooting at all.
Miss for Hannah Öberg.
There is the first weakness. Miss for Vitozzi too, though.
Elvira Öberg moving well, so is Lou Jean-Monod. A miss now for Elvira Öberg. Can Lou Jean-Monod capitalise? 5 out of 5, and the Frenchwoman does.
Jean-Monod is just great at getting in her own lane and not letting the environment or the situation affect her in any way, shape, or form. She's the only one that comes out of there clean, and she's going to lead.
Down the penalty loop goes Franziska Preuss. It will be twice around for both Suvi Minkkinen, and now 3 times for Justine Bressard-Boucher. Twice Tannheimer misses to kick off her first visit. 3 misses now for the young German. Dorothea Vera will go once around the range. A good visit for Magnussen, Camille Benet, Marte Krokstad Johansson, Malin Schickider as well, climbing well, but a disastrous start for the young German Tannheimer. 4 times she will go round the range.
Preuss comes out after a miss. She's still in 5th, 30 seconds back. Everybody here still in the race. If you're 30 seconds back after the first shooting stage, lots of time left to make that up. Maybe shake out a little bit of the jitters that caused the miss, get back out on course, and then just normalize everything you do from here on out.
Here is the shooting of Lou Jean-Monod.
And we talk about the margins in Ruhpolding, and Lou Jean-Monod, she floats above it all. That's the distinct ability of our yellow bib wearer, is they kind of float above the energy when it's nerve-wracking, and Jean-Monod does it again. And Öberg trailing after the first shooting by 7.3 seconds. Vitozzi once again the fastest shooter. She's 20.9 seconds. We didn't really get a look on her when you have the multiple athletes on the range, but she and Veer 1st and 4th in the shooting range. Kulm 2nd fastest, 21.4 seconds. And notice Suzanne Kulm, as she's kind of emerging this season with her good ski form, she is a really fast shooter.
It has been a great weekend so far for the Estonian team.
Suvi Minkkinen, 2 penalties out of the first shooting stage. That is very uncharacteristic of the Finn, who has had a 95% hit rate, and that's going to ding that statistic a little bit, missing 2 on that first prone.
And you can see just over the shoulder of those making their way up this climb, Malin Chikaida leading the chase pack to try and close down on the shoulders of Lisa Vitozzi and Elvira Urberg.
Starting to pack up on this big climb here, this chase group. Chase groups can really be effective in Ruhpolding. Just keep everybody working harder, and it's kind of like being in any kind of race where you have somebody to work with. You can kind of make time on your leader if everybody's working together to push. Not quite at that point yet in the race where everybody's ready to show all their cards on their fitness yet.
Someone who's happy to push the pace as always, though. Lou Jean-Minot works best when she's focused in her own lane. She said that that yellow bib is less of a distraction these days. Made us a second skin of hers now as she holds an impressive lead at the top of the total score battle, and she has a 2.2 second advantage over Hannah Urberg, who started wearing bib number 1 today. It was an 8-second advantage that Urberg had as they left the start gates, and we'll keep our eyes further back to see how the gap is developing to her sister Elvira.
Both the same, holding steady with between the 2 sisters from Sweden. They come from way up north in Kiruna, a ski area up above the Arctic Circle, and their family very active and have a very active lifestyle, and has played right into their successful careers as biathletes.
The 2 packs in pursuit, and it's Koska Fialkova and Dorothea Vera leading this second chase pack, and a pack it certainly is.
Big mover so far that I'm watching from shooting 1 is Meyer, Leah Meyer from Switzerland, had a personal best. 18th, she's moved up to 12th now, clean. So she's having great back-to-back days in Ruhpolding. Is Meyer, our second best race. She had a 14th in Hochfilzen earlier this season as well. So currently sitting in 12th, that would be a personal best, but she's got a long way to go before she can start celebrating that.
Yeah, the result in the sprint was one that she celebrated, though, from bib number 1, the second time that she'd started consecutive sprints in bib number 1. It was her best finish in a sprint competition to claim bib 18 today. Here's our leading pair of Lou Jean-Minot and Hannah Urberg in for their second and final prone visit before we return to the range in a standing position.
And Urberg put 6.9 seconds on Jean-Minot on the ski course in that lap, and that's why they're back together.
She has a miss, though, and now it's 2 for Hannah Urberg, and it's advantage Lou Jean-Minot if she can take it here. And she will have a gap at the front of the field. And it's a perfect 10 out of 10 in the prone for Lou Jean-Minot, who is fully focused and driving here. Twice around the range, Hannah Urberg will go.
Well, I don't think at this point Hannah Urberg will get her first pursuit win in Ruhpolding in 2026. Too many misses, unless there is a huge problem late in the field. But Elvira and Vitozzi both go clean. They'll be chasing Jean-Minot, but she's already got 10 seconds to be 15 to 18 seconds back will be the chasers.
And speaking of good climbers, Anna Magnusson has performed well. Preuss perfect on this visit. And she will be away with Malin Chikaida, Anna Gandler in that group as well. Leah Meyer not too far behind there. Amy Berserga too. Charlotte Rousseau. A perfect visit to the range for her and Selena Glotian.
3 of the Canadian women on the start order today. Great performance by them in sprint. Rousseau with a 26th, Nadia Moser 28th, and Pascal Paradis just sneaking in at 59. It's the first time, I think, this year that the Canadians have had more than 1. There's certainly more than 2 in the pursuit competition. Looking at Jean-Minot shooting. Perfect 10 for 10. Unflappable. And I find her... It's interesting to watch Jean-Minot because she doesn't have an eye patch over her left eye, and she kind of uses that. It kind of tells her her left eye kind of tells you how she is focusing, and she had to like take a little bit of a focus break there between 4 and 5. I always find that very telling. I don't know that it affects her much, but you can see when the process gets a little bit interrupted.
And she is the only athlete in the top 4 who has come through the first 2 shooting stages clean.
Tootsie led the fast shooting again. She's clean through the second stage. So a lot of the top athletes who had to miss the first time through have fixed it and gotten the jitters out, and now we're perfect on the second.
Well, no surprise to see Charlotte Rousseau climbing in the manner that she has, up from 26, which was actually a big new personal best for her in the sprint earlier on this week, and 92% prone accuracy she boasts coming into this week, 77% in the standing, and this would be a big personal best for Charlotte Rousseau if she can hold on here with 2 shooting stages and 2.5 laps left to go.
And when you get up into that top 20, when you're in 13th, top 15, that's supposed to be new territory for someone like Rousseau. That can really change the way you see yourself as a biathlete. I think those are massive improvements for athletes like Rousseau to kind of start to believe that they have what it takes to be one of the world's best biathletes.
Just off the back of the chasing pack with Selina Golotian as they break into 2 lines with the 2 Swiss athletes taking 1 course, and Anna Magnusson leading the train up the other side.
Yeah, big pack of athletes are going side by side. It tells you just how wide this trail is in Ruhpolding. These hills that you're seeing are actually created. They actually blasted the bedrock to make them steeper. The natural terrain here just didn't give the venue what it needed for a modern biathlon competition. I would say this is probably around 2008, 2009, if I'm not mistaken. The hill to your left and to your right, they're both created to be much bigger than they were naturally.
And it makes for a spectacular course here. It really is breathtaking and always delivers the highest quality of racing as we've seen in this bumper weekend so far. So Lou Jean Monod through the 5.4 kilometre mark at 4.9 kilometres. It was 13.8 seconds was the gap, and it has opened up by exactly a second. Elvira Urberg dropping back into reach of Lisa Vitozzi now.
Vitozzi with that 1 miss from the first stage. Vitozzi doesn't look like she's quite got the power that Elvira Urberg does, or Lou Jean Monod.
And she's slipping further back in terms of the times as well. Lost 5 seconds between 4.9 and 5.4 as this big pack come through once again, led by Anna Magnusson, who of course wore the yellow bib earlier on this season, and Malin Chirkaida as well, who's well in the battle to take the total score title at the end of the season.
So the prone shooting complete. Now we're off to, now we go to the standing shooting, the less stable of the 2.
No surprise to see Anna Gandler up at the front of this pack as well. The Austrian has 5 career flower ceremonies, and her last was here in the individual last season where she finished 6th.
Yeah, Gandler would love to get on the podium for the first time. She's tantalizingly close. She's within 8 seconds of the podium. So Gandler, but she's got to stay clean. She doesn't have the ski speed to do it any other way. Third shooting now.
And the first standing shoots of the day.
It's a really long hold on that first shot. I almost thought she might drop it. She's holding it so long, but gets into a nice rhythm. Well, world's best biathlete doing the world's best biathlon right now. Not leaving any room for error.
And a miss for Elvira Urberg. Once around the penalty loop, she will go, and she limits it to just once. Miss for Vitozzi as well. Can anyone behind close the gap?
Coming off 15 seconds already since Jean Monod has left the range. Preuss might be the best option. Hannah Oberg goes clean from the first inning, as does Magnuson and Benet and Grotjean. And the Germans get excited.
Twice around the loop goes Lisa Vitozzi. And just look at how the complexion of this race has changed, Chad. Hannah Oberg into second. Anna Magnuson just behind her compatriot in third. Camille Benet, we're watching the shooting now of Suvi Minkkinen, who's looking to recover her race, and that is a perfect visit in the stand.
We're getting Rousseau in ninth clean. What a day she's having. 4 seconds off of Gauntler.
And just to put that into context, her best before today, Shiloh Rousseau, was the result in the sprint, 26th, and she has climbed and she has continued to stay clean. Suvi Minkkinen has limited her errors on the course to just 2. Is that Lena Haki-Gross, I think, who's come down there.
Yeah. You need a pole there.
With number 35.
Ujamino this is why she's the best in the world. You pick her up and put her in any situation, and she tends to stand up and just deliver. And it's gonna be tough to beat her now. She has got too big of a lead on the rest of the group. 33 seconds is a lot. If she thinks about it, she can let Hannah Oberg back in. But Hannah Oberg, with those 3 misses, she's skiing great, though. You consider that Hannah Oberg has 3 misses and she's only 33 seconds back. She's skiing great. Watching the dynamics of these 3 chasers now. Benet just going to be happy to sit on the group. Nobody's going to expect Benet to go to the front and press the issue at all. And Anna Magnuson kind of fighting her way back into this World Cup season. 4 podiums in the first 5 races, then dropped to 38th and a 16th and a 20th. It kind of seemed like her season might be over. Coming back, though, this weekend in Oberhof and Ruhpolding, she has gotten back into top 10, finishing 9th and, 8th, 7th, and 11th in the last 3 races. Remember, she was leading early to the World Cup earlier in the season. She had the yellow bib for a good almost a 2-week stretch there.
And to take the silver medal in the pursuit in Hopfilzen behind Lisa Vitozzi.
Jamino now, she's actually pulling away from Hannah Oberg. Put a second on Oberg, Benet, and Magnuson in the last, from the shooting range to here.
And it's Camille Benet who is leading the train, and behind her 3 Swedes looking to pounce. Camille Benet looking for her first podium since the individual in Östersund at the start of this season.
Now, if Jamino thinks a little too much and drops a shot, it's going to be closer to anybody who shoots clean behind her. If she drops 2, all bets are off. And then if anybody's racing this final shooting stage, so Jamino knows she has to stay clean. She's got a 30-second lead. And we've seen time and again. I remember early in this format's introduction to the sport, one of the early years, I'd say we've been doing this event maybe 3 years. Rico Gross, local from Ruhpolding, came in with a 2-minute lead and missed 4, and instantly was out of the top 10. It's that's the way these work. And you see Dorothea Vera getting cocking her head to the side to get some fuel. And at the end of these long weeks of racing, these athletes need to continue to fuel, and that's the hardest thing about these three straight days of racing. Is can you keep enough fuel in the tank so that your muscles can keep firing?
So into the range for the final time comes Lou Jean-Minot. Metronomic she has been today.
And she's putting more time, so now forcing her ski speed just a little bit faster. She gains another 3 seconds from 6.9 to 7.4 kilometers. So Jean-Minot getting herself almost 40 seconds gap to play with this last shooting stage. See what she can do here. Should get to about 4th shot before she even considers hearing anybody on the range. For the win.
That's the first miss of the day for Lou Jean-Monod. But it will still be the victory. She has done enough. 19 out of 20 in the range. But she had the margin.
Two would have been a problem, but also that little surge she put on. Like, you think about the difference between 32 and 37 seconds in the range. It's just enough. Like that bought her a little bit of time and the comfort to take the lead, and just even with a miss, sew this one up for herself.
Hannah Öberg on a charge though. She's gone perfect, 5 for 5. Clean shooting for Hannah Öberg.
Well,
and it won't be the advantage that Lou Jean-Monod wants here.
No.
And now they trail out after her. Camille Benet. What a day for the Frenchwoman. Perfection in the range.
Now it's interesting, 9.1 seconds. It's only 2 kilometers though. That's not a lot of room to work with. Shiloh Rousseau drops 2 in the final stage. She was on a total flyer for Canada, but will go 2 times around the penalty loop. But Hannah Öberg, 9.1 seconds. And Hannah Öberg, that was a great instinct. She had the 3 misses early, and she wants her first pursuit win, and that difference is right there. You can see the gap. That will be what she needs to make up. And she's got the Frenchwoman, Frenchwoman Benet chasing her. She shouldn't have to worry about Benet.
Well, an excellent day for Camille Benet. 20 out of 20. And the only woman in the top 15 to do so.
And Öberg pushing early. She's skiing down into where Jean-Monod already went into a tuck, so she's pushing a little bit harder off the top of this hill. But 9 seconds is a long way to make up in just 2 kilometers.
And the chase is on. And Chikaida just finds herself too far out of touch, you feel, with Camille Benet. Holding third by 10 seconds as they left the range.
How much does Hannah Öberg have left in the tanks?
She has never won a pursuit race, Hannah Öberg. Lou Jean-Monod has plenty under her belt and is on her way to an 8th career pursuit win today.
It looks closer than 9 seconds now.
Well, they'll come up this climb and towards the time check. And it would be some recovery from Hannah Öberg.
I'm counting 6 in my head. But it's definitely closer.
Well, Lou Jean-Monod will hope that you're not right, but the fear is from her camp that you may be, Chad, and it might even be closer, and it's 4.9 seconds. Hannah Öberg nipping now at the heels of Lou Jean-Monod, who has led this race almost from tape to where we find ourselves now at 8.9 kilometers. Camille Benet trying desperately to keep herself in the bronze medal position, but Madeline Chikaida, we know how quickly she can finish. We saw it in the relay earlier on this week. Work to be done still for Lou Jean-Monod. She cannot glide into the finish line here.
It's the worst feeling to be chased and feel like you're losing time, and she has to know she's losing time. She can see out of the corner of her eye as she takes that turn that it's not 9 seconds anymore.
Well, it looked so certain to be a victory for Lou Jean-Monod. She had the margin there, but with the rate that Hannah Öberg got those final targets down, clean in her final visit to the range, and that has put all the pressure on the shoulder of the yellow bib wearer, Lou Jean-Monod. 4.9 seconds was the gap at 8.9 kilometers. This is the 9.4 kilometer mark.
She's pulling it back. She's pulling time back out of Hannah Öberg. Öberg did the right thing. She tried to cast doubt into Jean-Monod's mind, but she's back to 7 seconds, so she's lost half of what she made up in the first half of this lap.
And did she just go ever too early, Hannah Öberg? The battle is on for the bronze medal. Camille Benet and Madeline Chikaida.
Camille Benet trying so hard to get to the finish line before Chikaida can swallow her up. Does she have enough left? Not much space to get there for Chikaida.
The gap is closing in the battle for bronze.
Went from 7 seconds to 4 now for the bronze medal position. I think Lou Jean-Monod timed her surge at the right time to thwart the effort of Hannah Öberg to take her first pursuit victory here.
Well, she held her nerve, Lou Jean-Monod. Almost perfect in the range. And she is now safely home. The wearer of the yellow bib will take all the momentum in this event into the Olympic Games. The final women's pursuit before we arrive in Milan and Cortina will be won by Lou Jean-Monod. Her second pursuit victory of the season. And she wins here in Ruhpolding, the 8th pursuit win of her career. And Hannah Öberg unable to secure her first on the podium once again. Job well done by Camille Benet, who's back on the podium for the first time since the opening weekend in a solo event. Malin Chikaida didn't quite have what it takes to close the gap in the end. And now the sprint for the flower ceremony. Franziska Preuss falling back. It won't be 4 consecutive 5th place finishes for her today. And it will be an excellent climb from Amy Berserga from 22nd up to 5th. Oceane Michelon has banished her demon. She spoke about it this week, the challenges that she was having. She's climbed all the way from 32nd up to 6th and will finish alongside her 2 compatriots in the flower ceremony. Franziska Preuss takes 7th. Good day in the office for Marta Klokstad Johansson taking 8th. Suvi Minkkinen 9th. Elvira Öberg has to settle for 10th. Anna Magnusson finishes where she started. A great day for Lea Meyer of Switzerland, who has finished 12th in a result that will be a new personal best in all disciplines for her after a 14th place finish in Hotfilzen in this event. Selina Grotian climbs 2 places to 13th. A photo finish between Jakiela and Batovska Fialkova for 16th and 17th.
Some big climbers, Michelin and Berserga, both of them still with 2 penalties on the day. It wasn't a perfect shooting. Michelin absolutely lighting it up on the skis though.
But it is all about Lou Jean-Monod. Victorious here in Ruhpolding.
Michelin and Berserga, the fastest 2 skiers on the course. So that's just ski time. So that tells you how important it is to ski well.
Across the line, Charlotte Rouchot in 21st, a new personal best from her, climbing 5 places from where she started in 26th. And Nadia Moser as well, twice around the penalty loop, but a 31st place finish for the Canadian. A good weekend here in Ruhpolding, the penultimate stop before the Olympic Games. And all smiles from Camille Benet. She'd already booked her place in the squad for the Olympics. And Chad, well, she can take plenty of confidence going into those games.
Yeah, she's not lighting up on the skis, but today she did. Camille Benet, her pursuit time was the 3rd fastest. She was 16 seconds slower than Michelin and 6 seconds slower than Berserga on the actual pursuit time. But Benet's course time is faster than normal. She skied, I'm trying to find it. She skied 24th fastest time, just 45 seconds back. That is a solid performance for her, and if she can continue to hold that kind of form in the Olympics, she will be a medal threat in all disciplines.
Now you have to look at Lou Jean-Monod as a huge threat in the pursuit competition at the Olympic Games. She won the discipline last season along with the individual discipline. It was the sprint and the mass start where she didn't take the small globes, and of course fell just short of Franziska Preuss in the battle for the overall crystal globe.
Lou Jean-Monod train keeps rolling. She's, you know, biathlon is least exciting when it's done really well. That's exactly what Lou Jean-Monod did. Started with a second place bib, started with just a gap of 8 seconds to the leader, went 19 for 20. And, you know, it kind of puts all the excitement to bed when you have control like that. It's a great performance. And Öberg tried to get in there in the last loop, just fired all her rockets in the first half of the last loop, and Jean-Monod fired what she had left in the second half of that last loop.
A second win of her career here in Ruhpolding for Lou Jean Monod after the individual competition last season. Our final bibs come across the line. Well, she had the time to look over her shoulder, Chad. At one point, it didn't look like she'd have the luxury of being able to celebrate before the line.
Yeah, I think she calculated it. I think she knew she didn't want to just blast out of there and maybe blow up, maybe taking a page out of the experiences of her teammate Julia Simone in final laps. So I think she went out, not conservatively, but she didn't go out crazy. And then when she saw that Hannah Oberg was closing on her, that's when she used her final power to kind of discourage Hannah Oberg and not give her much more food for thought to take the victory today. And she looked like she had pretty good control of it, even though it got down to about what was the gap? It was 4.9 seconds at 8.9, as close as Hannah Oberg got.
Well, it's really lovely to see the face there of Oceane Michelon and the relief on it. She came out this week and said that that she's saddened by the fact that she can't fully realise her potential, and that she was putting pressure on herself because when she succeeded 95% of the time, things went well, but it just wasn't happening in the races. And Chad, the word she used, which I think is one that a lot of frustrated athletes would feel was exhausting, and that's not what you want to carry into the Olympic Games. But the manner in which she's climbed today, Oceane Michelon, from well down in the order, starting 32nd up to the flower ceremony, she can take a huge amount of confidence from that.
Yeah, and sometimes I think just airing it out in the public can actually change your mentality. We saw that happen with Tommaso Giacomel last year, showing a huge amount of frustration in Ruhpolding. We'll call it the Ruhpolding confessional. Yeah. And he did that last year here, and I think Lou Jean Monod did the same. Well, not Lou Jean Monod, but Oceane Michelon. And sometimes just, I had a great coach said, don't share your goal with anybody who can't help you achieve them. And I think in the sport of biathlon, that's true in any sport. Because then all of a sudden the public's in on your mental space, and you don't really want to look the public in there because it puts pressure on you. But at the same time, when it's not going well, and you know that, sometimes sharing what you're feeling with the public can open up those performance pathways. And I think that probably happened just psychologically and emotionally with Michelon here today.
Well, here is Margie Freed of the USA across the line in 56. She is the last of our athletes over the finish line in this women's pursuit today.
Margie's a great personality on the U.S. Biathlon team and kind of stoking the crowd to close out the day.
Well, from bib number 2 to gold on the day, Lou Jean Monod will extend her tally at the top of the total score battle as well. Hannah Oberg still waits for her first pursuit victory. Camille Benet is on the podium for the first time since the opening weekend in Östersund. Alan Chiakaida fourth as she keeps pace in the battle for the total score at the end of the season, and of course our blue bib wearer as well, Amy Beserga. Great result from her today to finish 5th in the flower ceremony for a 6th time in her World Cup career. Oceane Michelon climbing from 32nd up to 6th and banishing the demons. 2 misses on the day, but will finish ahead of Franziska Preuss in the flower ceremony.
And Michelon throwing down a fast ski time. And really Amy Beserga having the best ski time I think I've ever seen her in a World Cup. She's second fastest on the pursuit time, and in this course total time she was 3rd. Carrara sneaking ahead of her by 2 seconds. Michelon setting the pace on both the pursuit time and the course total time. Those are both performances that Michelon and Beserga can use to see themselves among the medal favorites in Milan Cortina.
here are the standings at the top of the table. Lou Jean-Monod extending her impressive lead over Suvi Minkkinen and Malin Chiakaida. Chad, she is in such a comfortable position in terms of the total score at the minute, but she has the recent heartbreaker the last 2 seasons where she missed out so narrowly, finishing second in the total score in both. It does feel like she has the belief that this year is different.
Yeah, and regardless of what happens at the Olympics, she can park this this goal on the sideline as she goes to Milan Cortina, and then come back and resume a great competition to the end of the season to try to take home her first Crystal Globe. And I have no doubt that she is focusing on the Olympics above all else, but would like to take home this World Cup Crystal Globe for the first time, especially considering how close she was to it last year.
And it all came down to the final day and the final turn last season. She'll want it settled before then this time round.
Yeah, it's so much work to get the momentum going, to lead to that point in the year, and then to have it fall, to come down to a fall in the stadium in the final, in the final 300, 400 meters of the race. That was a tough pill to swallow for her, I'm sure.
Congratulations. That was quite an interesting competition today. You were building up, but then this one miss at the final standing. Did you just try to make some kind of an intrigue and bring an intrigue into the competition?
Not at all. Yesterday my main goal was to do a clear shooting on the last shot, because I know it's very important here to do a clear last shoot. So yeah, that's why I'm not really happy, because everything otherwise was great, and I'm happy about this part.
What about the final lap? Because Hannah was really close to you, she was getting up, then you still had this gap. So what was your strategy for the final lap, and did you feel enough powers to get the win?
At first, no. I was not feeling so good. So I know that my best part is the finish line. So I was thinking, okay, you take your energy to save a little bit for this finish line. And in the end, she didn't catch me on the last appeal. So I gave everything I had at this moment, and it was enough.
It was really enough. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Well, Chad, we have seen Lou Jean-Monod in very similar positions to where we're seeing Suvi Minkkinen at that point, sat after races behind the where the athletes gather and of course leave their equipment, and been looking really disappointed with the way performances are going. It is a complete contrast in the picture of what we've just seen of her, and the way that she's able to laugh and joke and and shrug off that drop shot on the last visit.
Yeah, and she's letting us into her mindset there a little bit. She's got a perfectionist mentality, which is a pretty good thing to have for being a world-class biathlete. But you also need to fine-tune that with some balance and emotional balance. And I think that you get that every single year that you come back and you've had that experience the year prior. Lou Jean-Minot is not the same athlete she was this time last year because she had the disappointment. She's piled on experience since then, and you can see that that's why she is the best in the world right now. She is just in the right spot in the flow.
And keeping hold of the red bib is Suvi Minkinen, finishing 9th today. 2 misses, Chad, in the first visit to the range, and after that she was perfect.
Yeah, it was very uncharacteristic. I'm kind of trying to, I wonder if something happened with her. It could be her position, maybe didn't set up quite right because the conditions were perfect. But that's just biathlon. Sometimes you have to like shrug it off and push on. And Minkinen's still doing damage control. She's continues to lead the pursuit score standings. She had a 47-point lead coming into today over Anna Magnussen. Now she is just down to 10 points ahead of Lou Jean-Minot, who's kind of crept up on her in that red bib fight for the pursuit. But they'll resume that after the Olympic Games. It'll be a long time until they have a World Cup pursuit again and that bib becomes contentious.
So the penultimate flower ceremony of our time here in Ruhpolding, and it will be Lou Jean-Monod, who finished second yesterday, or Friday in the sprint, who leads out the flower ceremony. And Chad, ahead of her first Olympic Games, she is the one to beat. She is indeed, made a World Cup debut 5 years ago. And has very quickly emerged as one of the best, and at this moment in time, the best in the world.
And based on what we've seen from her, the Olympics should go swimmingly for her, I would expect. I think she's got the capacity to deal with all the extra stuff going on at the Olympics to get through that and master that and still come out on the other side with some medals, if not some gold medals.
Well, Camille Benet has already booked her place at the Olympic Games and will take a bronze medal from the final pursuit for the Games kick-off. An impressive performance today, Chad. Only athletes are in the top 30 to shoot clean today, and one of just 2 in the whole field to score a perfect 20 out of 20 in the range.
Yeah, and she did that posting the third best pursuit time as well. So she's not only third on the podium, coming up from 10th to 3rd. This is a good way to punctuate the end of what could be her training years. I'm not sure if she's going to Nové Mesto, but Camille Benet leaves Ruhpolding, where she started the season, in Östersund, back on the podium again.
Second place goes to Hannah Öberg, who is going into the Olympic Games in excellent form. Third Olympic Games. And has positioned herself in a great place to stand on the podium once again. And heading into her first Games, Lou Jean-Monod, victorious once again, her 8th pursuit win of her career and a 2nd of the season. And well, she has collected plenty of fans, hasn't she, over the course of the last 5 years. Lou Jean-Monod, she'll go into that Games so well supported just by those who wave the French flags, that like plenty come into it from a neutral perspective as well. Chikada taking 4th today. She's 3rd in the total score race, and of course has a very firm hold on the blue under 23 bib. Brilliant day for Lily de Serga. 5th World Cup flower ceremony for her, equaling her 2nd best career result, and a huge climb for Oceane Michelon.
Yeah, really the performance of the day, I think, considering she had the fastest time out there, and that's gonna turn her season around.
Well, she will certainly hope that that is the case. It's now a 136-point gap that Lou Jean-Monod is at the top of the total score standings. And the next race up for the women will be the short individual, 12.5 kilometres Novo Mesto next weekend, our final race weekend before the Olympic Games. It's the short individual, the mass start and the mixed relay and single mixed relay that will be contested next weekend. And of course, one more race to come here in Ruhpolding before we sign off on our German double header. The men's 12.5 kilometre pursuit coming up in just a couple of hours' time. That kicks off at 3 o'clock Central European time. For now, it is the French who will party. Back on top spot. A pursuit win of her career. She continues her excellent form into the Olympic Games. So with the flower ceremony concluded, volunteers out on the tracks preparing it ahead of the men's race. Next up here in Ruhpolding at 3 o'clock Central European time, the men's 12.5 kilometre pursuit. And we hope you can join us then here on Eurovision Sport.
Zicke, zacke, zicke, zacke.